Okay, resume recording. All right. Okay. So welcome guys to TW family. I'll answer all the questions. You can throw your questions on the chat box, and I'll also enable unmute people so that you guys can ask questions. Okay. So first things first, right? So all the new members, go to the private Twitter. Make sure you read about all the rules. There are TW rules that are posted on the website. These rules are to help you all, to protect you all from making any mistakes, and curb your losses, and take advantage of riding a particular trade which is already profitable. So if you go, I keep retweeting more often. Please read about these tweets, like important reads that I'm posting here. So this way you guys are aware of what questions to ask, what not to do. You can enable mobile notifications. I've retweeted this as well right now. So this way you can receive SMS alerts anytime I tweet anything, any kind of trade alerts. You can read about the how we are making new changes in terms of 2020, making efforts in improving our trading. We are buying more time in our options. So this way, all you need to do is wait for the trade to work. So don't worry about, if the premiums you buy in, they go down, it's expected. Read about these tweets, which is what different channels and Discord chat room is made for. So that way you can isolate where you talk about, trading, where you talk about, general stuff, all of these things, okay? There is a YouTube channel where we have done a recording before. We have over 700 views. So this is a good link, which has already been emailed to all of the members, anyone who's joining, new or old. So this way you guys can go through this video, which is an hour and a half. It gives you a perspective about all the risk management that we have talked about, and tells you how you can do butterflies, how you can manage your trades, how you can scale in or scale out of a position, depending on all of your requirements that you have. It's important to manage your trades. All right. So let's actually look into the market as to what's going on. Bear with me with respect to my charts, how they look. Okay, so a lot of times I do this. I do the negative of any ticker, so this way helps me to give me a better perspective. So if you take a look at this SPY, it tells you that we've had the heaviest volume, which is 1.2 billion, which I think in terms of, even if you look at the monthly, the volume is 2 billion, which is highest in terms of since October of 2018. Okay, so October 2018 we had 3 billion volume, and then after that the next highest was last week. Okay, and this is 3 billion monthly. This is 2 billion monthly. So this is kind of like things are turning around. If you take a look at the monthly, we tested the 284.82 last week. We almost came to 284.82, which is 285. So expect this month, if we clear 285, 281, we are heading towards 273, 275 in SPY. And then from there, we can go to 258, 262, 263, 263, and 258. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. If the coronavirus thing doesn't get resolved in the next few months, or 3 to 6 months or something, then things can get worse. I'm expecting at least to hit SPY to hit 50 monthly SMA, which is 258. And beyond that, we can hit 244 or 233 if needed. Okay. So this is basically 2018 lows of 233 and 243. But let's not get carried away. Let's go one step at a time. So this way, first thing we need is on monthly to close about 21 SMA, which is 289. Okay. So March is very important. If we close about 289, that'll give us a confirmation of continuation from February, and which will set the tone for, April as well. So this way you can expect that 258 is, a likelihood. Okay. So right now we've hit this resistance, which is since August of 2018 and till now. So it's a very important spot here. So next week and this March month is pretty important, right? So if you take a look at the weeklies, I'm expecting a back test of 302 in SPY, and 302 is pretty crucial, right? So if we test this and hold, then we can bounce back up towards 285. So which basically, this is a reversal SPY that I'm showing you guys. So if I just do SPY, it basically tells me that, we broke this trend line, which is with heavy volume. So a back test of 50 SMA, which is 302, is a likelihood. So next week, we either back test that. If not, we can just break 100 MA, which is 287, and then go back to 277, and then hit the 50 SMA, which is 263, which aligns with our monthly 50 monthly 258 as well, pretty close by. Okay, so this looks to me like a likely spot in March, but I do expect some level of bounce. So it's not going to be just straight down. Expect some bounce and then probably push lower 263, 258. Okay, so this is what I'm expecting in terms of March month. Okay, so the same thing if you go with SPX. Something important I want to show you guys is, let's take the monthly view. Okay, so if you take a look at the monthly view, 2008. Okay, let's do time frames, 20 years. So if we take a look at this monthly view, and let's go. Okay, so 2011, right? If you take a look at 2011, we had our recession time during 2008, 2009. We went down, then we hit the around 2010. We hit 50 SMA first time, then we dipped to 200 SMA, then again we hit 50 SMA, tried to break it, and then we cleared that, and then back tested in 2011. Okay, after which we kept going up, riding the 21 SMA, and then we dipped again in 2016, almost hit 50 SMA. Okay, the red line is your 50 SMA monthly, and again we kept going up, and again 2018 December we hit 50 SMA. So 2583 is right now 50 SMA, which I expect to, probably due to the bounce and weakness in the market, to come down to 2500. So I'm expecting 2500, 2600 to be a, between that to be 50 SMA. And I'm expecting that can be a possibility that we will hit that. Once we hit that, look at 2011, 2016, 2018, 2020, looks like a pattern where we would hit this 50 SMA and then bounce up. So it can be a good long play at 50 SMA. So 25, 2600 is a key spot. So when we get there, I'll be looking at daily and weekly confirmations, but we will be looking at buying SPY 3 to 6 months out, okay, on the long calls. So this way we can ride the trend to the upside for a bounce play. It can be a V pattern or a W pattern, right? Just depends. So which I'm also thinking it should coincide with the elections in November. So probably if the coronavirus comes in control, I know I was reading about Israel working on using, they have a new technology that they are coming up with the cure. So they have reduced the timeline from 3 months, which was a week or two ago, to few weeks now. So if their vaccine or the drug works, we might get a pretty good bounce. So keep this in mind. SPY 258 263. These are key numbers. SPX, SPX 2500 or 84, 2500 to 2600 is a key range. Okay, so these are key numbers where you can expect a bounce to happen. But again, we are not going to blindly be going long, but we will look at a confirmation on at least daily and weekly level to scale into the position. Okay, we are pretty oversold and we can continue to be oversold. Okay, so if you take a look at CNN fear and greed, I think it's at 10 or under 10, something like that. So if you take a look at this, extreme fear is 10. Okay, so I'm expecting we go to like single digits, and then we get a bounce. And there's been too much of negativity, so expect some pretty good volatility and bounce. Okay. All right. So next, moving on to QQQ. If you compare to SPX and everything, QQQ has been pretty strong. SPY SPX has hit 21 SMA on monthly, but QQQ has not. And it's I think once SPX actually drops further towards 25,2600, we can expect Amazon and Google all to drop lower. So and Apple as well. So that should impact and give 185 on QQQ, and also go down to 169 level. Okay, so 169 is an important level, and right now it's holding this support. So something that I want to point this out. It's a wedge pattern, and it's holding this support, right? So if we break 198, it's going to hit 185. 185, then we get to 169, possibly. Okay, so and QQQ has more room towards downside. So I'm expecting, once we break this 50 SMA on weekly 196, we can head lower. So let's look at Apple. Actually, before that, let's go to IWM. IWM is one of the weakest among indices. Okay, this is a big wedge pattern. This is a bear flag. So on a monthly level, so it's the weakest among. So if IWM Russell 2000 breaks lower, below the 50 monthly 143, this is going to be bad, right? So it's going to drag the other indices down. SPX is one of them, your QQQ, your NASDAQ, all of that. Okay, so I'm expecting IWM to go to 125.81, the lows here. Okay, this has been the highest volume here. If you take a look at it, 682 million. Okay, and all we got is 500 million bounce, and again 41 million on monthly here. So March is pretty important. I'm expecting a test of 125.81, and if it holds, we bounce back. Okay, so all of these numbers are pretty important. It's something to note down, because this can coincide with your SPY 258 or 262 level, and also with your QQQ. It can coincide with your QQQ at 116. Sorry, what is it? 185 and 169. So 185 and 169. So once these numbers coincide across the indices, we can expect a good bounce. Okay. Moving on to the next one, let's talk about WIX. I was looking at WIX for last max available, and I think we go to 2008, which is 89 and 81. I'm not expecting that to happen, but sorry, I don't know what this line is, but I'm expecting this to, it's already hit the 50, which is the 2018 highs, and the next number is 53. And about this, we have, what do you say, your 57, and key number here, which is the range here, is 68, 60 level. Okay, so 60, 61 is key. So it's not going to go straight up. There's a lot of fear in the markets because of the coronavirus and everything. So you can expect some level of pullback. So if we get a pullback, you know, we'll go back to 36 levels, which is, sorry, I don't know where's the 36 level. Okay, hold on. So we'll go back to 36 level, which is this, and below that we can come back to your 31 level, 30 level, and 24 level, right? So if needed. So that's going to happen only when we see a bounce in the market, when we see some positive signs and less number of death rate in terms of coronavirus causing it. Okay, so there's a lot of negativity in the market. So combine this with your internals, your CNN, fear and greed. You know, combine that. So let's get to, like, say, single digits. Let's get to single digit, and then, you know, look at your SPCE. I'll talk about that as well, which is the put to call equity ratio. So let's go to that. So if you take a look at SPCE, it's at the resistance levels across the board. Okay, 1.84. This is an important number. Okay, so we are almost at a spot on the fear and greed and everywhere that we are way oversold. Okay, so any positive news, market is going to bounce big time. Okay, so there have been a lot of negative news in the weekend as well, with Washington, you know, announcing emergency state and everything. So keep these things in mind. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's talk about UVXY. If we talk about UVXY, again, I apologize for the lot of, you know, trend lines, numbers that are posted in my charts. So we are, you know, testing the 200 SMA on daily. Okay, and normally when you see William percentage are here, it's hit extreme overbought conditions. So it's normal to expect some level of pullback. So any pullback here is just going to fill this gap here, which is above, which is 18.43 and below 19.08. Okay, so we fill this gap, come here, test this 18 level, or if needed, come and test the 100 SMA, which combines with 10 SMA at 15 level if needed. Okay, but to me, we can expect this to pull back to 150 SMA, hold here, and then bounce again. Okay, and this can go further. So the upside is 26, and we have 30 level, 30, 31, 30, 32, and then 36, 34, and 36, and 40 level. So these are the upsides on UVXY. These are really good indicators. Your VIX, UVXY, CNN fear and greed, SPCE, put call equity ratio. Combine these with your daily trading. It will really help you in terms of you know, manage your trades and make the right decision with your stocks, whether to go long or short. Okay, let's talk about Apple. So on Friday we had a bounce because of the you know, last 5-10 minutes of buying, and also it's going to be start of the new month, and also you know, expect some level of buying, but we need the news to be slowed down in terms of the negative news on the coronavirus. So Apple bounced off of 256. Okay, it's a very important number, and I'll show you why. Let's look at the weekly. So if you take a look at the weekly, let me actually see if I, okay, this is a support level, 256 here. This is a strong support level. Okay, so take this. This is exactly what Apple did, right? It broke this is the key level. It broke out of this 233 level, which is the major breakout level, 233, which is 2018. And after that, it went up, it created a base here, right? It broke out this 256, 257, and it tested it for a few weeks and then went on a rampage to 327 level. So I'm expecting Apple to bounce to 282, which is another $10. Test this 21 SMA, and then fail back and go back down to 256. Okay, once 256 breaks, we are heading down to 233.50, which is 233-ish level, and which also coincides with your 50 SMA monthly. Okay, so keep this number in mind as well. 256. I put in a what do you say? Alert. Do an alert below 265. So it's a key level. All of this at some point of time will coincide. Your QQQs, your Apple, your SPY, WIX, all of this is going to coincide in some point of level, and it's going to make your trading a little easy to short or long. Okay, but it's important you note these numbers down. I've already put in this in the trigger sheet, but keep an eye, watch on these numbers. Okay, moving on to Zoom. Okay, I love this setup. I love how it actually on heavy volume, 67 million, was just twice the volume of the February 17 week. It broke that, hit 122. It's also cleared the 423.6, which is a heavy fib resistance. Every single time when you hit 423.6 fib, it's likelihood in near future that the stock is going to go and close below it. It's a pretty important fib number. Okay, so the next number I have above is 130. I think I already, yeah. So hit this 120.69, which also coincides with my let's see, 423.6. Okay, so it hit this 423.6, it hit this 423.6, and it retraced. Okay, so I'm expecting Zoom to pull back this week, come and test this area, which is the breakout area of 9900. We came to last week low of 97, so there's a possibility that we come back and test this, and also test 107.34. So these are key numbers, but on a monthly, this is a complete breakout, a breakout on heavy volume. So 47 million and 143 million. That's almost 3 times. So expect a back test of this area, 97, 98, which is this 98, 97 area. Okay, it holds this after earnings, and we can expect this to go back to 120 and 130. So if I do let's do a fib on this. Should have, no, I don't. Okay. If I do a fibs on this, which is 107.34, let's take this, go back to 59.94. So you can see that 136 is 161.8. So this is the upside I'm looking at. Let me actually just make it more visible. Okay, so look at this on a monthly, 78.6, 78.6, okay, which is basically coincide that 97, 98 number, 98, 99 number, right? So it's a very important number. So after earnings, if we come back and hit this number and hold and break above 107, I will be long, because this will go back to 121, 122. Then we have 136, and long dated we have 184. So Zoom is, I'm pretty bullish on Zoom on a monthly breakout level. So it's a very important chart. It's a very important ticker in terms of going long. Okay, so we can look into buying, maybe some calls on longer dated calls and shorter dated puts on Zoom to play the earnings. Let's see. I mean, the premiums are high. I think the premiums are, yeah, if you take a look at, next week is the earnings for Zoom, which is, March 4th, I think. So if you take a look at 105, yeah, let's see March 28th, okay? So if you take a, let's look at 120. Yeah, so 120 is $7. So I'll have to check what the IV for this is. But I know, let's see. I know the IV is high, pretty high. So if the IV is above 100 or something like that, I'm going to ignore this for earnings. So for March 20, for $7 something, I'm looking at my phone, sorry guys, on E-Trade. So the IV is 127% implied volatility for March 20 expiration, okay? So if I look at March 6, I'm pretty sure the IV is going to be in 200. So let's see, for if I do even 110s. Yep, so the IV for March next week is 180%, okay? So this is, let's avoid this for the earnings. Let's trade this after earnings. So this is a good play after earnings. 97, 99, if it holds after earnings and clears 107, we'll go long. Okay, so that's the plan for Zoom. Longer dated call options after earnings. That's what we'll plan to do. Okay, so I think the futures, let's look at the futures. Futures is up. It's down 36 points, 41 points. So futures is going down. Okay, yeah. So the futures is bad. It's down because of all these negative news. So we are down like 47 points. And it's basically 2907. So it's a key number, 21 SMA for monthly. So if, I think if it breaks this 2853, it heads to 2728 and heads to 2600, the number that I'm talking about. So futures is getting bad, guys. So let's see how we open in the morning. But as of right now, we are down like 56 points. So last week's low. So remember I tweeted about, you know, what to expect for this week, right? So there's one of three possibilities for next week, okay? One, we either go green to red. At this point, that's not going to happen, right? So the second possibility is we just go red, break the last week's low and head lower. And the third possibility is we hold the lows of last week, which is basically 2853. So we hold 2853 and bounce back up, creating an inside week, okay? And then break down following week as confirmation. So we need a confirmation, but this is the possibility. So let's watch for 2853 next, this coming week, and let's see if it breaks that and stays below it, or if it holds, then it's going to be a good bounce play. Okay, and if it bounces, there's a high likelihood that we can see 2950, 3050, or 3030. Okay, so that's on the futures. All right. Do you guys have any questions right now before I move to the next set of? Okay, so let's see. You guys can unmute. If you guys have any questions, let's take some questions before I move to the next set of watch lists for the next week.
Yeah, I have a question. So
please, yeah, go ahead.
Is the market has possibility of going one way? I mean, if there are more negative news, it can go further down, and if something positive comes, it will bounce back again, right? So why don't we take, like, as we took SPY long calls, right? In the same way, can we took SPY long puts as well?
Okay, so you know, we can do. I mean, SPY puts. I was looking at those, and we know that 258, 263. Those are the numbers I'm looking at. So we can do that, but I need some confirmation. I mean, we are pretty oversold. So and there's been tons of negative news for last few weeks. So any negative news, it's already priced into the market. So unless we get extreme news of, you know, debt rate going up, and a lot of states in US is now announcing emergency shutdown, and also those kind of news, or school shutdowns and all of that, and any panic situation that's going to be created that's when I think, we're going to go down further. So otherwise, we are already way oversold. So I'm looking at, I think we need to wait and watch 28.53. We'll look at on Monday how the market opens. But as of right now, from 60 points, the futures are, holding up. So let's wait for confirmation and then we'll jump into it, because we have SPY April calls. We don't want to just blindly buy the puts. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what's there on the questions on the chat box. Buying in the money, experiencing like Jan 21 and selling way out of weeklies and stay in the same trade. So Mirza, is this, guys, can you mute? There's a lot of background noise.
Hey guys, I want to just outside for a little bit. Go put some clothes, come on.
Okay.
I watched it.
Okay, sorry guys. All right, so Mirza, I don't know if it was pointed out to SPY or it's a particular stock you're looking at, but you can do that. It just depends. We don't know how low the market is going to go. So you have to be a little careful. So it's good to do, yeah, in the money is much better, but, and you can, out of the money weeklies, you can do that. It just depends how far of a strike you're looking at. So unless you have a particular trade or particular stock you're looking at, let me know, but it's tough to answer this. It's a good strategy by Jan 2021 in the money calls, and you can keep adding into the position and buy sell near term out of the money calls or puts. Okay. For the technical indicators, so I'm just using 10 SMA, 21 SMA, 50 SMA. These are things I'm using. Other than that, I'm just using the volume and William percentage. So nothing more. I don't use, I have MACD just for reference. I don't use that much unless, it's more of a crossover to give me confirmation with other indicators. So I just look at these things. So I'll share you guys those, after this session. I would avoid buying Zoom stock just before the earnings. So Prakash, I would wait for the earnings, because if the earnings is good, Zoom has a lot of potential, right? So if you take a look at it, what I showed you earlier, Zoom has potential to go back to 121, 136, and 184. Okay, so that's going to happen in time. But because of high IV, which I see 184% IV for next week expiration, and March 20, I see 126. I'm expecting they're going to kill the premiums. So I rather wait for after earnings to buy Zoom stock. Chris, okay, I have correlation between the indices. So, okay, so let's say I'll have to draw those and send it to you across and after the call, because you have not actually, I just use SPY, IW and all of this separately, and I just mentally analyze the correlation across the board, but I have not done it on the chart. So let me look into that and get back to you on that. Do you consider low and high on weekly, monthly to get the levels? Well, for fibs, I use multiple levels, okay? So I do weekly, I do monthly, I do daily, and I combine those with my trend lines. So a lot of different things I do, and that's how I come up with my fib numbers. So it's not just, drawing the highs of weeklies and lows of weeklies, but it's combining the trend lines, it's combining the moving averages, it's combining, any binary event earnings, highs and lows. I combine all of these things, and that's how I get my numbers for the fibs and everything. Okay. How do you decide to hold overnight if anything can happen? Well, I hedge it. So if you're long, hedge it, right? Buy time. That's very important. If you buy time, you know, that way you don't have to be stressed about it. That's right. Gold should have been up. But remember, this market is down based on, you know, people getting all worried about this virus and freaking out on that. So it's something, it's weird. I mean, I don't know why gold is down. I don't follow gold much. So it's difficult for me to actually give you an answer on that. How do you use William percentage as an? Well, I use William percentage R because it's one of the better indicators that works for me. And it's, even though it's a laggard like MACD, RSI, stochastic, but it's more accurate than all of those other indicators. So I use it. If William percentage R is overbought, whenever it hits this over, look at this. Okay, let me give you an example here. Okay, look at this. We have been in overbought and we can continue to stay overbought, and we kept rising up on, actually forget gold. Let's look at Zoom. Okay, every time we go overbought, it's at -9, right? So you have 20% above this, and it gets to -6%. The highest it went overbought was -14. Okay, so it surpassed that. So whenever it's this overbought, you expect it to pull back. You expect this to reset, right? So I use these to scale out of my positions. Okay, and that's what happened with Zoom last week, right? It actually went overbought and it stayed there, and the following week, 2 weeks, it just dropped back down. Okay. Small account on trade playing in this kind of market. Okay. Be very selective. Okay, if you're a small account, just trade one stock at a time. Okay, one trade at a time. Don't go beyond that. Okay, because you're going to wipe it out, and you have to be, you know, clear cut on the in terms of risk reward. So if you're a small account, buy time. Don't do weeklies. Don't do earnings trade. Don't do lottos. Don't do same day expiration. Buy time. Buy a month or 3 months out, and preferably do at the money, in the money or at the money, right? So that way you will make 30–50%, and you can get out of the position and keep repeating that process until you grow your account. Going out of the money, buy time. Buy 1 month, 3 months out the line. When you say that you are 90% considering your account in you have 9K in cash. Yeah, so if you're taking an example, I'm 90% cash. It's basically, you know, if it's a 10K, yes, 9K cash and 1K in option. That's right. Any stock list to buy when the market hits 2K? Well, I'll be looking at Apple, Vijay, because Apple, all blue chip stocks are going to be good. So Apple is one thing I'll be looking at buying. You know, so there are a lot of stocks I'll be posting about it. So the moment we get there, you know, I'll look at relatively strong stocks during those times. Can we add? No, we are not adding AAOI. Okay, so the earnings was good. I apologize for this, guys.
But where is
so
everyone seeing the questions? I'm sorry. Can someone explain that?
So there's a Zoom group chat. So people are just throwing the questions on that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Thanks.
No worries. So go to the more, and there's a chat option, and you can throw them. Okay. If you guys want to ask questions over the call, you can do that as well. So I'll take this last question, and then, you know, let's go to the next phase of watchlist trigger sheet. Okay. So going back to AAOI, 8 is the low. So this is coming back, and it tested last week 8.54. So 8.3, 8.54. So I'm expecting this to go to 8. And, you know, let's see what happens from there, because this is a key spot. If it holds this, it's good. We have a put position. If it doesn't hold this, it'll go down further. But I told you, right? Its earnings is important, and they need to prove in the earnings. So if the earnings is good, they will start going up. So that's what is key on AOI. And right now, the overall market is down. So even on a good earnings, you know, which AOI beat the earnings last time, this time, all the earnings, good beat earnings stocks are still going down. So have patience. It's a Jan 2021 position. We have a lot of time. I know the option price that we bought is down 50%. I'm holding along with you guys. So we will recover and we'll see how the market turns around. So once the market turns around, I expect this to go back to $16. Okay. So that's basically another approximately $7 to $8. Okay. So we might just average down on our call options or buy a near, near strike for Jan 2021. So that way we cover up for a loss. Okay. I don't use 1 minute and 5 minute charts, because I think that, in this market, I prefer still using hourly for confirmation or 4 hours. It's too noisy for using 1 minute and 5 minute charts. For a SPY calls, I will be holding on to the April, and we offset. We made money through our SPY puts, so that paid off for our SPY calls. So I will be holding those SPY calls. April is monthly, so we have month and a half. So let's see. I mean, if we are completely going down, then I might just get out and roll it out to a further maybe June or July expiration. Okay. As of right now, let's wait on long calls for 21, 22. If a certain stock like Zoom, that's not a bad option because Zoom is breaking out in monthly, so you can look at those. Or if you want to do Apple or any of those things, then I would wait for market to hold and form a bottom. So until then, it's better to avoid because we don't know how low the market can go. Okay, I am expecting 258, 266, 258, 262, the 200 SMA, but I'd rather wait because this is a pretty heavy sell-off. So don't be in a hurry to go long or buy longer dated a year down the line. Just be a little patient. Let's see, how next week or a month happens. And if we go near this 258, 262, that's when I'll start, going heavy long. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next set of stocks. Before that, let's see what's there in the futures. All right, guys. So the futures is holding right now. See, I told you, right? There's too much of negative news that's already been in place. So futures is bouncing now. So this is good. Okay. So 28.53, if it doesn't happen, likelihood we'll see a bounce week. Likelihood it's going to be a inside week. So if that happens, we see 30.29 in SPX, in ES futures, and maybe we go back and test this area, which is 30.29, and this area 30.69. Okay, so futures is holding right now.
Mommy put it up for me, so she did.
Guys, please mute your.
She's the one who put it for me. Okay.
I think somebody's unmuted,
Yeah, so I just muted them again. All right, so let's go to the stocks. So the futures are holding up good. So this is good for us. SPY April calls we have. Actually I forgot about one other stock that I wanted to talk. Okay, so let's go to MRNA. This is one other stock that's pretty strong. Okay, I wanted to show you guys something here. So look at this monthly. Okay, it came down below 78.6. So this is a key spot here again. 78.6 fib is very important spot. So if we clear 26.30, if we hold this next week, this is going back up to 29 and 30. If this 30 number clears, we go back to 36. About that, we have 41, and then we have 59. Okay, so I'm bullish on MRNA. How is this? Oh, I shut this. Okay. Okay, I'm bullish on MRNA. Okay, it's heavy volume breakout. It's the highest volume ever since it went IPO. So it's 325 million. So keep this. I actually posted this in a trigger sheet and I marked it red, but this is something worth going long along with Zoom. Okay, so remember 26. If you want to be on a safe side, better to enter after 30. If 30 breaks, you can go long, okay? And use daily close. It's always better to use daily close. So on a weekly level also, this is good. Look at this. It's bouncing off oversold condition on William %R. MACD is now bouncing off and turning upside. If I look at the daily, okay, daily, it's come down to 21 SMA almost to test it. So it's a strong bounce on Friday with 24 million. So watch this. So 30 is a good spot to start going long, or you can scale in long about 2650 and ride it up. Okay, so that's our plan for MRNA and Zoom. Moving on to Tesla. So Tesla, it's at a pretty good spot. 50 SMA. It's not hit 50 SMA since December. Take a look at this. The last time it hit 50 SMA back test was around this time, which is October. And after that, it hit 10 SMA and it never looked back. So after October, Tesla has just come to 50 SMA now. So to me, this is a long play. Okay. So stop below this 611 is a stop, 607, 611, because there is a gap here of 589.80, which I was expecting last week. It did not happen. So it was pretty resilient. So if Tesla breaks about 690 on Monday, it's going to go back to 740 and fill the gap here at 776, which coincides with 21 SMA. And from here, it can either go back down, depending on the overall market, or just go back to 913 and 863. Okay, so I'm bullish Tesla right now. It's a good long play for next week. Okay, moving on to Gilead.
One quick question.
Let's take questions later. We need to wrap this watch list for the entire week, and then I'll take the questions. Okay. So Gilead, there was a news on last week, and that's why it sold out, but the option premiums have not gone down. Okay. Something I want to show you here is if you take a look at April 80s. Let's go down. If you take a look at April 80s, look at this. You have open interest as 43,200. Okay. So, you know, to me, Gilead, I'm still bullish based on the news with respect to the overall, what do you say, the coronavirus. And right now, it just retraced back to 23.6 or 78.6, depending on how you look at it. So I'm expecting this to bounce back up. The 80 calls go back to 3 and then, you know, 4. So there's a possibility that we can see 81 on Gilead, which can put this to like $5 and $8 between that. So Gilead is, we have scaled out, we have taken profits. So we are riding, you know, our position is free trade right now. So just ride what we have. We'll add, once we clear this area, which is 71.30, and fill this gap, and we hold this gap, 73 area, we'll start adding into Gilead. Okay. The other stock I like is STMP. It's bullish. It's a daily, you know, bull flag. So I'm expecting this. So STMP is has nothing to do with coronavirus, any of these things, but you know, this looks good. You know, this is a pretty good. It's holding the 10 SMA. So watch next week. If we hold 134 level, you know, then we are good. If not, we'll see 124.5. I don't think we'll fill the gap. I'm doubtful we'll fill the gap. So 124.5, if it comes there, it's a really good spot to start going long. But if we hold this 134.5, we can head back up. So head back up, and 163 is a possibility. That's a key number. 162, sorry, 162 is an important number. which also coincides here. So 162, 163 clears, we hit 173 and 185. So I am bullish on STMP, good for long play based on overall market, right? So if market holds, this will hold. Domino's Pizza, DPZ, this is also good. What I like about this is on a daily, it was way above outside the Bollinger Band, upper Bollinger Band. So this is a sign where I'm expecting Williams percentage R to come down like this at approximately to 50% and then go up. So watch above Friday highs, which is 346. If this clears, it goes back to 361 and fills the gap here at 366 level. So again, on a weekly level, this is inside week. So there's nothing wrong with DPZ on a weekly, and also notice it's hit the 161.8 fib and it held that. So this is a key number here. So holds below 333 and about 336, it's a long on Domino's. Same if you look at STMP, it's a low volume pullback for this week, okay? Take a look at STMP. All it did was low volume pullback, came back, back tested the 200 SMA, which is this, okay? So it tested the 200 SMA, tested the 100 SMA. They both are coinciding here. So to me, it's a long from here. So I'm expecting this to probably turn back up and go back to 150 SMA, which is 152 and 160. So STMP and Domino's Pizza are a good long play. So we'll be looking at some plays on this. Moving on to ENPH, this is a good play. Again, this is inside week. They had earnings last week. They crushed it. And this ripped heavy volume. Sorry, not last week, the previous week. And then inside week. So anything above 59, this rips. So if I look at recent pivot high and low, okay. So we can see 67, that's what it is. We can see 67 and on a longer dated 96. So ENPH, I'm bullish on this. It's a good weekly inside week and good daily. So I would go long above 51 area. So if we clear 51.25 or better, I would say 52. I think 52 is better. So let's do an alert. 58, 51.84. So 52, and this is a long, and it can run to 57 test. So ENPH is a good play again. Into 57. Okay. Space. A lot of people love this stock for some reason. Okay. So there's a gap that needs to fill. So the gap is 27.6. So if market bounces tomorrow, I would expect the gap to fill, but and also hit 31 if needed. Okay. So unless you want to day trade this, it's a good stock to day trade. There's some level of divergence here, right, on daily, but I would avoid until we clear 32 level. So 31.60, 32 level is where we need to clear. So 31.60, 32. If we close on daily about this, that's when I'll start looking at going long, and it will be back into this range. Sorry. So right now it's below this range. So expect a gap fill and 31. But if we close about 31 and 32, we go back to 39. So that's what I look at space. But until then, it's avoid. So 32 is an important level, 31, 32. Three more stocks. Team is looking good. It's been one of the strongest in the market. Where if you look at SPY, SPX, right, they have hit 50 SMA, right, 200 SMA on daily, 50 SMA on daily. But look at team, relatively strong. It's not broke below 10 SMA also. So this is a stock that I would go long. These are the stocks you would want to be long because they are they have been holding pretty good in this market. So anything above this 150 level, which has been a range since 2019 July. Okay, so if you take a look at monthly, this is a very tight range. So I'm bullish team on a longer dated, and I like this 10 SMA monthly coming back up. So it's catching up with the price. So expect what is this? 3, 6, 7, 8 months of range. So I expect this to be another sideways for some more time. Once market stabilizes and goes back up, this will be one of the stocks that I would look at going long term. Okay, so 171 is upside on team, and all you need is 150, 152 area. If you clear 152, this starts heading up. Okay, 2 more stocks, and then we'll take questions. So LK. So LK is, so let's do this. Okay, so right now it's at resistance. So all you need next week is clear this multi-week resistance, so which is like 5 weeks of breakout. Okay, so if it closes above 41 next week, then it's a long play. 41 hits 43, and then we go back to 49.51. Okay, so this is a long play above 41. You can scale in at 41. You can scale in. So weekly close above 41 is important, and weekly hold at 37.50 is important. Okay, so that's how I would play LK. On a daily, it looks bullish. So watch next week. If it goes above 41, you can play for a move up to 43, and then see if it clears that to go to 49, 45, 45, 49. Okay, that's with LK. And the final one, which we killed last week, Regeneron, 415 with hit 480 after hours, pre-market, and then. So Regeneron, I'm bullish this stock. You know, it was a heavy volume move up and then dropped on low volume. So this pullback was on low volume. So this is 2.2, this is 2 million. It broke on 3.5 and 3 million. Okay. Look at this, 2 million. So it broke down on 2 million, bounced on 1.6. So I'm bullish on Regeneron. I like the stock. It broke out of this long dated resistance. You can expect this to go back to 451. It breaks that. It goes to 457, 461, and 470. Okay. So Regeneron is one of the plays that I'll be looking at next week. My only concern on, yeah, so let's look at, yeah, look at this. So it's a heavy volume breakout on weekly, 12.5 million from previous week, which was 4 million, 2 million. Okay. So this is a heavy breakout. So 442 is a key number, which it closed above last week. Anything above 442, it's bullish. So expect this to go back up. I think we can see Regeneron 470 this week, and probably go test this 474 area, 474, 477, which we were expecting it to hit last week. So if this clears, it goes back to 505. So any red to green play next week, Regeneron will go long. So I'll be looking at probably March 20 expiration long play on Regeneron. So 442 key hold, and 457, 461, 473, 477 upside into 505. So that's what I'm looking at Regeneron. Okay. All right, guys. So I think I'm done with all the watch lists, the futures. So so futures are holding up right now. So looks like we might see a bounce this week. Probably likelihood it can be an inside week. All right, so let's get on questions. Let's see what questions we have here. Okay, let's go back up. Okay, this is where we were, right? Okay. MRNA would be predicted 1 Coronavirus. Yeah, this is based on mRNA is based on coronavirus news. Yep. But it looks good. What do you mean by daily close for I think exiting. Okay. So if let's take an example. Okay, let's say let's take Tesla. Okay. So let's say you took long Tesla, and on Monday you took a long on Tesla at 668 or 670, and then it closes below daily. If I say daily close below 669, so you need to wait till last half an hour of the day to see the stop of Tesla closes on a daily time frame below 669. If it closes at 667, you take a stop. That's what I mean. So use the closing price on that particular time frame whenever you're taking a stop. It's very important. If it is low exit, well, it just depends. I look at daily close or weekly close, and based on that, I'll take a stop. Okay. So I have a Tesla July 950 call. Is it worth holding? Look, I've given you numbers, so I don't know. It's July, right? So there's a lot of time. I would hold it for now. It's not a bad play because Tesla has hit 50 SMA after long since last October, and on monthly. The only concern I have on Tesla is on monthly. It's a doji candle. Okay, look at this. Okay, this is my only concern. But the good thing is Tesla closed above previous month, which is 653. So it closed February at 667.99. So it's a good one. So it's important that in March, Tesla stays above 653 and about 611. If it doesn't, then I'm expecting it to go to 521 or even 421, okay? Which is where the funding secure happened, right? So remember, I don't know if Tesla is good to hold for July 950, but I would use 611 as your stop on monthly close. So you can use weekly if you need it. Because possibly weekly tells me if it close below 611, 619, 611, it'll go back to 466, which basically tells me we will hit. If it goes to 466, likelihood we would hit 420 and maybe 390. Okay, so just be aware of these numbers. So put a stop below that. We did not go through banks, so let's look at banks. Okay, it's ugly. Banks is ugly. It's heading towards, so XLF, which is the ETF for financials, it's testing the 200 SMA and also the previous breakout spot, which is all along this. So it's very important in March that we close about 2565 and we close about 27. So close about 27 is important. So banks are weak. It's an avoid. So if you want to short this, go ahead. JPM is strong compared to, the XLF ETF. So if XLF breaks down 200, expect JPM to go to 100. Goldman Sachs is the weakest. Goldman Sachs is bad. It's below 200. So Goldman Sachs is weakest. Don't even bother going long on Goldman Sachs. I think that this area breaks, which is 193, Goldman Sachs is going to see 180. So this is a good play for short. I have an alert. I don't know since when. So yeah, 190 breaks, 193 breaks, I would short Goldman Sachs. So banks is a good play for on the short side. Okay. What criteria you use to scan for stocks? Well, I don't use any, I don't scan stocks using any criteria. So I built my watch list over the years and I keep adding those based on, how they perform, based on volatility, based on momentum, based on fundamentals. So a lot of those things. So it's, that's how I build my stocks. No, I'm not going to do any challenge, because the problem with challenge is, you know, it's too risky in this market, and you can easily blow your account. And the worst thing is, if you don't do good in challenge and you don't make money in challenge, it's going to affect your, you know, confidence. So your mental strength, your confidence. So I would avoid challenge for now. Wait till the market stabilizes, you know, like how it was in December, Jan, Feb until last week, and then look at it. Okay. Let's look at Beyond. Okay. Beyond is bad. So look at this Beyond. It's going, it broke down the support area, which I had. Okay. So it broke down the support area. So Beyond is bad. Yeah, Beyond is bad. So 21 SMA is turning down, it's heading down. So it's important that it holds 95. It goes above 95 next week. If not, we would go back to $74. So, but $74, yeah, Beyond is, this is 130 million. This is, yeah, see, I think next week is key. So watch for $95. If Beyond holds 95, so let's put a trigger 90 and key area 95. So let's put 95. Let's just put little less, 94, because it moves fast. 94.50. So I'm going to put a trigger at 94.50. Weekly close above 95 is good. Weekly close below 85 is bad. Okay. So I have a alert at 80, 81. So let's put a at or below. Let's put 85.50. So anything below 85, on heading towards 73, 74 area. Okay. So use these alerts, guys. It's very helpful. So this is going to head back to 74 bucks. So we will see how it works, and we can probably play, we'll short this. Okay, LK. So LK, I've already talked about it. Okay, so keep those numbers in mind, 41, 43 to go long. Until then, avoid. How many weekly, bi-weekly alerts we experience? It just depends on the market. So it's hard to say. Okay, we have good market like December, Jan. We've traded like 15, 20 stocks in a week, and we've made pretty good, right? We have done pretty good actually last 2-3 months, really good. Even in last week in this down market, we have done pretty good. So it just depends on the market condition. So like example, last year, September, August, September, October, we didn't do too many trades. Why? Because we had trades, but not too many, because the market was choppy and sideways. Okay, there were days which was volatile. There was volatility, but otherwise it was like that. So it just depends on the market, guys. Can we have this kind of session every week? Whichever. I try to do as many times as possible. So I cannot promise, but yeah, we'll try and do more often. I like seeing his charts, and it's helpful. Thanks, She. Appreciate that. If day trading, what's your favorite time interval? Do you even consider tick or range charts? So with day trade, I go with 15 minutes or hourly. So I use 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and hourly for day trade. You know, I don't use ticks. I mean, I use ticks. Okay, so this is something I want to show you guys. Okay, so I mean, I do use. I don't do too much of day trading. I mean, I do day trade, but I don't use ticks or range charts much. These are the internals that I use, right? So I use the ticks, but lately, if you notice, for months, the ticks have not been. It's just been range bound, right? But last few weeks, it's been a little better. Okay, so I just use hourly again on ticks. Okay, sometimes I do 15 minutes. Okay, these are internals, but the advanced decline volume chart, This has been really helpful. Okay, so if we expect a gap up tomorrow, watch this. Every time there's a gap down, we bounce. Every time there's a gap up, we fade. Look at this. Gap up, we faded. Gap down, we bounced, right? So this is a pretty useful internal chart. So use these along with your trading, and it's going to give you more confidence in terms of whatever stock you're going to be trading in terms of long or short. Okay. Okay. So moving on to the next questions. We do have auto trading. We are tied up with global auto trading for stocks only, not for options. So yeah. Talk about healthcare. Okay, let's talk about Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft FANGs are bad. Okay, so is Microsoft. So it's held at 21 SMA weekly, which you compare with Apple. Apple is below 21 SMA. You compare that with Amazon. Amazon is held 21 SMA. Netflix is strongest among all. It's above 10 SMA. It's strongest of all. It's above this trend line. I love Netflix. Google is strong, but it's again close below 21 SMA. So among the FANGs, Microsoft is weak. So if next week we are going to bounce, then expect this to go and test 169. If we fail to hold 157, expect this to go to test the 152 mark, then come here at 144, 140, 150, okay? Which will coincide with 50 SMA as well. So that's with Microsoft. Netflix, one of the strongest. This is a stock, is very strong. So watch this area, okay? The trend line. If it holds here, go long, 351. It's worth going long. Even if it comes and hits the 50 SMA, which is 330? Yep. If it comes to 330, it's still worth going long. So I'm bullish Netflix because this is a bull flag to me on weekly. On daily, if it breaks about 377, it's a long. Okay, so keep Netflix on your watch. So Anthem reversal on last Friday. So long above 261, short below 249. Keep it simple. Okay. Long above 260, short below 249. Okay. Upside potential is it can go to 270, 278. The same. I mean, all of these they trade in tandem. Anthem, United Health, CI, all of them. Okay, so it's an avoid to me. All of this is avoid on the long side. On the short, so if you get a bounce next week, then you can look at shorting this below 297 for UNH. Same goes with CI. It tested the 50 SMA, possibly test 200 SMA with at 171. So next week, expect a small bounce. Test the the upper limit here, which is 185, which is this number. So expect a back test of 185. If it clears, we go back to 195. If not, this goes back to 200 SMA. Okay, Amazon. Okay, so let's look at Amazon. Okay, so funds are weak, as I mentioned again and again. So Amazon tested the 50 SMA and it held. So watch next week. Anything, it can go and bounce back to 1955, 1917. Sorry, this is the number I'm looking at. So 1917, and it also held the trend line. Okay, so let's look at Yep. So it's holding this trend line. Look at this. It broke out of this trend, came back, tested, held, and 50 and 21 are also acting as a strong support. So expect a bounce next week on Amazon. So likelihood if market bounces, Amazon bounces up, and we can see 1917, which is high of this, and 1932. So we break this area, which is a resistance. We go back to 1955, possibly. That's what I'm looking at Amazon. Okay. What is the website tool that you're using now? I'm using Think or Swim. TOS. Yep. Thanks, Nathan. Can we do a session on how to draw fibs? Fibs is just different for everyone. I can point out to, a few videos and everything. It's just something that I've developed as per my understanding. So, even if you follow my fib structure, it's going to be way different for you. So let's see what I can find out and see if I can do a session on that. I can't promise you, but let me look into it. I talked about AAOI. You can look at the recording. Apple, how long we need to wait until the upper limit to reach? Is this for Apple? AAPL? Approximately how long we need to wait until the upper limit to reach on what? No, I'm not holding any hedge plays on 401k. I just have my comment in 401k. I'm invested in mutual funds and all of that. So 401k is just, for me, is a long dated. I just average it down. So I'm not worried about that. So if you're concerned about it, then I would just move it to a cash position in 401k. Okay. In any of the stock price, I don't know how long to wait. Okay, so I think it just, I've given you numbers on SPX and overall market, so it just depends on that. I'm here, so I will be posting, and the moment I get heavy long, I will be letting you guys know. So when I post my trade alerts and I'll be heavy long, I will talk about, going heavy long on the market as well, because that's why I'm holding 91% cash. Okay, so I want to put that into use, and I'm looking at some lead plays, longer dated plays. So I will post those. Just be patient. I'm using E-Trade for options trading. I don't know about Robinhood. Maybe others can help you guys. Buy at 30 and wait for a week or month to reach. Guys, I've given you the numbers on MRNA and everything. So just don't blindly buy at 30 and wait for a week or month. Okay. So 26, 30 are the key numbers. If it breaks on daily close, better on weekly close. If you get weekly close next week, if it closes about 29.80, go long. That's it. Okay. And you can buy stock and have a stop at, say, weekly stop at 25 if you need. Okay, you can do a $5 range and write this to 36 or 41 if you want to do that. If you don't want to, if you want to buy on daily, then buy on Monday about 26 with a stop on Friday low at 22 if you want to do that, or stop at 24 daily close. I would say 23.50 daily close. Okay. TOS, E-Trade, new to options, text, how to use a trigger sheet. Okay, good question. So how do you use my trigger sheet? Okay, so let's actually, why is my, okay. All right, guys, so this is the last question I'll answer. How to use a trigger sheet, okay? So if I'm going to, I thought I pinned it, I did not. Okay, let's take it. So I've given these trigger sheets, right? So when I say above, all the numbers above are resistance values, okay? And when I say a key value, like look at IWM, right? Key value 125.81. It basically means that at this spot, the IWM will break down in a big way, or it will bounce from here, okay? So you used your trigger sheets in order if you're going to be doing day trading, or if you're just going to buy some options by yourself, then use trigger sheet, use these upper numbers. So you can use these upper, above is all resistance numbers, below is all support numbers, okay? You can use those and you can scale out of a position based on these numbers. That's how I would use the trigger sheet, okay? All right, guys, if you don't have any other questions, thank you so much for joining today's session. And we'll see you on Monday. Let's see.